right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to yet another episode of Passions Podcast. I am your regular host, LeTara, here today with a new guest host, Lauryn. Lauryn, thank you so much.
Hi.
Hi. How about you introduce yourself and let everybody know your background with Passions and how you ended up on the podcast today?
Well, yes, thank you for having me. My passion's origin story, I think, happened the same way as a lot of my friends and people that I know with summer and not anything to do during the day in middle school. And I just remember getting to my grandmother's house where all my cousins were because we always hung out at my grandma's house because she was retired. And my cousin was like, we're watching this crazy show about this prom boat that's like supposedly sinking, but it's taken 2 weeks to sink. Then there's like a witch with a doll that turns into a mini person, and it's crazy. And so my cousins and we all just started watching it, and then I became hooked with the whole Shawise and I've always been a stan of Theresa's hairstyles and makeup, and same thing with Whitney and her hair and all the stuff ever since, even though I had no idea really what was going on at the age of 12, just visually it was stimulating. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, right before TRL, it was just Passions and then TRL.
TRL.
So that was my middle school, high school, when I played volleyball pretty competitively, and we would leave school and then some friends would come over to my house. We'd watch Passions and eat and then take naps and then go to practice. And then
I love it. I love the
yeah,
nap. I love that you were like, we have to take a nap because that's me too.
exactly.
Like in high school, I always have to take a nap. Like, yes, I love it. I still love a nap to this
I love
day.
a nap. Naps are some of my favorite parts of my day.
I know so many people who are like, I can't take naps. I think that's so crazy to me. I'm like, the minute I lay
Weird.
down, I'm like asleep. I fell asleep in my classroom today. Like, like on my lunch break, I was like, oh crap, I shouldn't sleep at work. But anyway, y'all don't want to
You
hear about me
deserve it.
sleeping at work. Y'all want to hear about passions. So we're going to get into it. And we are going to start with the magic storyline again, y'all. Like this week was crazy. Every week has been crazy recently. So Lauryn, did you like watch episodes leading up to this before you started these episodes, or did you just jump right into like, where are we, 425 through 4 or 426 through 430?
426. Yeah.
Yeah, did you jump right into these?
I did a little primer,
Mm,
but I forgot how slow the soap world moved. So everything is still kind of lays in. You don't really miss anything if you miss an episode. So, but I did remember, I was trying to remember, yeah, how Theresa ended up the beans with the paternity, and it's like, oh, she's giving me her computer and it's mine now, and I'm gonna tell the world. And then, yeah, how Rebecca was the one that ultimately got it. So I had forgotten that since middle school.
yeah.
But yeah, it was. I've been watching kind of all of them.
Okay, good. So you are raring to go. So
Oh yes.
let's just start over at Tabitha's house, where she is about to make coffee. It's her and Timmy, and like Hecuba's there randomly, and she's about to make coffee, and Hecuba makes fun of her because she's like, oh, you have to make coffee with your hands, like you have to do it manually like some plebe. And Hecuba says, not Hecuba, Tabitha says, gone are the days when I could just snap my fingers and coffee would appear. But she snaps her fingers and like the coffee machine starts to work.
Yeah,
So
I
she
love
started,
that.
I got super excited because I was like, is Tabitha finally getting her powers back? But no, y'all, she not. She
No,
ain't.
yeah,
She
she's
tried,
still got a while.
yeah, she tried to do some things and it didn't work. And then Hecuba makes fun of her. I just wanted to say that because it I felt for Tabitha in that moment. Like I really want her to get her powers back so badly. I do not recall her not having her powers for this long.
Me neither. I feel like she always did have pretty substantial powers, but clearly, yeah, not as much as Hecuba. But
I
it
clearly
always
didn't.
felt like she had her hustle going.
I clearly would not be like a reliable witness because I did not remember this and
Yeah.
I watched it, But anyway, so Hecuba is at Tabitha's house and is like, I need to figure out what's going on with Miguel because if you are getting your powers back, that means that he must be dying or close to death and he is not succeeded in finding Charity, right? So she's like, and I want to watch. So she conjures up a giant bowl of water.
Yeah.
Enormous bowl of water. It was as big as the table. And so she is looking into it. Tabitha and Timmy have off on their own adventure. They leave Hecuba unattended in their home. And they leave Hecuba unattended in their home to go to the book cafe to look at Hecuba's book. I'm not Hecuba. Lord, there's too many witches. To look at Tabitha's book to see how it's going over in Harmony because Tabitha's worried that people will find out that she wrote this book and all of these secrets are going to come out and they're going to basically she's terrified they're going to burn her at the stake, which of course they're not going to burn you at the stake. You've been alive for 300 years. They don't burn people at the stake anymore, Tabitha.
Yeah, she's just kind of that nice old weird lady that carries her doll around. They're kind of whatever with her. That's why I can't wait to get old because then I can say whatever I want and be weird and people are just like whatever. I mean, Tabitha dresses like everyone's favorite kindergarten teacher, and I kind of wish that like I could do that.
I love it, and I too. Part of me can't wait to get old. I have like this plan. I will not be paying for any more meals after the age of like 75. I will be dining and ditching slowly. Because who's gonna say shit to an old ass woman who just forgot to pay her bill? I will be dining and ditching exclusively at nice restaurants. I'll leave like a tip for the waitress and that's it.
You're like, oh, I thought that I paid it with this cash on the table.
Yeah,
$2.
I pay. I just can't remember as I'm getting into my car to like leave, drive away. But yeah, I'm just going to be an old lady who steals food a lot.
Perfect. I like that plan.
Yeah. So anyway, Tabitha and Timmy are at this bookstore and these people whom I've never seen in Harmony before are reading her book and they love it. But one girl gets to the end of the book. Like, did she stand there and read the entire book?
Yeah. I've always like wondered that too. Like she must be like a champion speed reader or what, or that spell must have worked pretty good where they were able to just kind of flip through it and understand it briefly and then oh my gosh, the spell wore off. I mean, there's things in my book that I wish like my family wouldn't remember, but yeah, it's there's all these town folk that are come to see the new book of the town crazy old lady. I mean, I think I'd probably be there too, actually.
100%.
To get a signed copy.
None of the people you would expect to be there are there, but
no,
a lot of townies are there. But yeah, this girl, she gets to the end of the book and she's like, "That's weird. I don't remember a single thing I've read."
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
so Tabitha and Timmy are like, "Oh, great, the spell works." But then Tabitha makes the point that I made like 3 weeks ago, which is, what if somebody reads to like the middle and then puts it down? Like, how many people read a book in one sitting? You know what I mean?
I don't. Yeah.
I definitely don't. So, but I said, I guess we're meant to believe that the book is so good that you can't put it down until you finish it, I guess. But Tabitha says, what if people don't read the whole thing and then they remember everything that they did read because they didn't read to the end? So she's still worried about that. I don't know, that there's really nothing more to tell about that. Do you have anything to add about her?
There's a lot of holes in that plot line there. More questions than answers on that one.
It's so dumb. I mean, I love it, but I also hate it because it takes up so much time. Like, yeah. I forgot this part. So Tabitha decides, I got to get all these books out of here. So she's like, I'm going to buy all the books that are are here, and I'm going to steal the ones that other people have already bought. So she gathers up every single book. It had to be like 75 books into a red wagon. Where'd the wagon come from?
Yeah, where'd it come from? Did she steal the wagon too, along with the books? Was it already there?
She stole it from a kid on the sidewalk. She's like, I need this kid. I'm a witch. And that's my bad Tabitha impression. Yeah, she puts it all in a wagon that I guess she brought with her. And she says it's for her book club. She wants to make sure everybody gets a copy for her book club. It's a big book club.
That's a big book club. Yeah, I wish that I was a part of some book clubs like that.
I don't know. That's too many people in a book club. Oh, but that many people reading your book, that would be good. Yeah, but I don't.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I don't want to be in a book club with 75, 80 people. That I never get to talk, and I like to talk. No. So she buys all the books. Beth comes out. We get a Beth appearance, everybody. Little cameo.
Yeah. I was surprised. I had to do a double take. I had to do some Googling. I was like, wait, that's Beth. Oh my gosh, forgot about that one.
And what they have done to her hair is criminal. It's criminal. Yeah. And she keeps this ugly hairstyle. It's the classic Beth hairstyle for anybody who's wondering. It's that short and like the flippy. But before they had her like in longer hair, she was gorgeous. And that actress is a legitimate beauty queen. She like won Miss America. So the fact that they did this to her to make her look that is a horrible look on her. Oh Lord, I hope they did that to her and that was not her choice. Now I'm thinking about it.
I mean, I really, I do wonder if this show was the origin of the Karen hair, because between that Beth hair and Sheridan and the time frame, and some of the ladies haven't outgrown that, still clinging on to those passions fantasies,
and they weren't good when they were in style, right? Like you saw it and you were like, oh, that really, that's their
I mean choice? With my hair, that was never attainable, so I never wanted that style to begin with. But just wasn't really a good look.
I just don't believe for one second that Beth went to the salon and was like, give me this look with the flippies at the end and make me look 25 years older. Right? She looks so bad. But anyway, we only see her for 30 seconds. She calls her book supplier and is like, you know that book you sent over? Man, it's going like hotcakes. I don't have any left. Send over a truckload. No, make it 2. And that's all we see. That's all we see of Beth.
That's
it. 2 truckloads of Tabitha's book.
It's funny because I forgot that back then we had to test phones for the dial tone, because at first I was like, oh, she just picked it up. She forgot. Oh, the actress forgot to, her improv. And then she was like, oh, then she remembered to dial. I was like, no, we had to pick up a phone, make sure nobody was talking on it, that the line was in use, and then make the phone call.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine that we were just talking freely on phones and anybody could just pick it up and hear what we were talking about.
And manually dial the numbers.
Yeah.
I haven't dialed a number in so long because everybody's number that I need is like programmed into my phone. And anytime I need to talk to like customer service, now it's like just click the link and it calls for you. So I literally don't have to type in numbers on my phone anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it was quite. There are certain things like that on this show that make me super nostalgic, but also make me think, man, it also makes me feel super fucking old, because I'm like, I remember that, and we used to do that, and that was 20 years ago now I'm 20 years older, but that's okay.
Yeah. All the Y2K fashion and everything. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Euphoria High School is in harmony, because it just, with all the crazy shit going on there and the drama and, oh man.
I love Euphoria. I mean, we're not going to get off on a tangent on Euphoria, but I love that show. It is I just watched it though, so that's why I think I'm
Oh,
feeling really. I binge watched season 1 and season 2, like I don't know, like a
oh
month and a
no.
half ago. And I like when I first watched, I was like, this is dark. I was like, I'm unsettled, like I hope these teenagers aren't out here doing this stuff. This is a
I know.
lot.
So I gotta make sure I remember my birth control now because I don't want to have any teenagers now.
Well, my mom watched it and she was like, well, it's such a good, accurate depiction of like teenage life. I was like, are
No,
you
it's
serious?
not. Where?
Like, what teenagers? Not, I know you're not
What
talking about me.
teenagers?
What teenagers?
I mean, some of the stuff that they do, I'm like, one, where are their parents? And then two, I'm like, when I was a teenager, I was friggin' terrified of getting my ass kicked by my mom to do
Mhm.
half of the stuff that they're doing. Even like I mean, I love Pilar, but
Mm.
a real Latina mother like would not be putting up with that stuff.
Listen, you are not the first person to say that. Like,
Yes.
and
Oh
listen,
man.
I have a Black mother, and I know she would not be down with that shit. Like, this would be Passions would not even have happened for me if I was Theresa. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
moment my mom told me I couldn't work at the Crane Mansion, that would have been the end of it. There would have been no dressing up in a costume to fake it.
Yeah.
No, that's not
Yeah,
happening. I'd be
no,
too
no, she's
scared.
all that the nerd. Ooh, I'm gonna put on glasses and then no one's gonna recognize me situation.
Yeah, but yeah, those kids in Euphoria, not only where are their parents, but like where are the adults in general?
Right.
Where are
We're
the
the
adults? Where
teachers.
are the teachers at this school? I haven't seen one. They're probably having sex with the
Either.
students too. I'm telling you,
Exactly.
that's probably the next season. You know what? We're on the wrong
Yeah.
show. We're going back to Passions now. Tabitha gets all the books, takes them home, gets home, finds Hecuba, who has done a spell in this giant bowl
Like
of
a
water.
cauldron. Like she just conjured up a witch's cauldron
It's
straight from the freaking Hocus Pocus.
yeah, it's huge. And she says she wants to check on Miguel. And she says, show me Miguel, whatever. There's an incantation, but I seem to have not written it down. So here we go. So she says, like, show me Miguel, basically. And she can see him searching for charity in hell. And she yells down into it at him, you're wasting your time. You'll never find charity. And then she uses a bunch of random Spanish words, which felt very uncomfortable for me. I don't know how you felt about it, but it was a lot of it's like, I think Jasmine Ellis said this on an episode previously. She said there's something about someone speaking just random Spanish words to a Latinx person who speaks perfect English that just rings very, very racist. And it was just so many, it was like Julian level racism that I did not expect.
Oh
I don't know
God.
why I didn't expect it from this witch. She is evil. I mean, she would be racist, I guess. But
Yeah.
geez, I didn't expect
Yeah,
it.
just whip it out there. Yes, because Miguel, I mean, are they Mexican? I don't even know because I was watching the first few episodes and they're doing the samba, and as a Mexican American woman, I never saw samba until I went to a Brazilian restaurant. So I'm just kind of like, okay,
We
I guess
talked
so.
about
Let's
this.
see.
We've talked about this at length on the podcast. We have talked about this at length on the podcast. They still, to this day, 426 episodes in, to this day, have not nailed down what this family's heritage actually is. Later on, we do find out that they are Mexican American, but that's like, that should have been established by now. It's been 2 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, no, they do a bunch of different things. So we were like, are they Argentinian? Because they do the tango. And then, like you said, they do the samba. And there's just all of these random things that they attribute to this family. And you're like, what? And they always say that their family is from the old country. Mama wants to go back to the old country. That's
like, that's Europe. Like,
right. What?
Wait, where's the old country?
Which
Who's
one
old
is it?
country?
Which country? But anyway, so yeah, she's yelling Spanish words at Miguel. Is super racist, and I didn't care for it personally. But Miguel then leaps through the fucking bowl, y'all.
Oh my gosh. I literally jumped when I saw that because I forgot that. I was like, oh my gosh, they're getting really physical here. It's not just fake fighting and holding them down. It's, oh man, that actor was a Jesse Metcalf. He really earned that one.
I didn't see it coming. That's for
Me
that's for damn
neither.
sure. I didn't see it coming. So he comes through the bowl and starts strangling Hecuba. And I'm gonna say this probably 3 more times in this episode, but Hecuba is not the best witch. Why can't she use magic to break free of Miguel? Right? She can't break free of Miguel. Although eventually Tabitha comes in and gives us an excuse of, oh, well, Miguel's love for Charity is making him stronger.
Makes him so strong. His love for her.
But if he was that strong, he should have been able to get to Charity and out of hell by now, right? Like, I don't know. So he's strangling her. She literally turns blue. This show is a cartoon. She literally turns blue to the face. Tabitha and Timmy come in, see her being strangled, and debate whether they need to help her or not. Like, they're like, well, it might be better for us if she just died, which I agree. Let Miguel do what let Miguel do what Miguel do. Okay, let that be.
They have popcorn out. It's like the ultimate schadenfreude for them. They're just loving it.
Timmy says as much. Timmy's like, Timmy's thinking, should we help Tabitha or not? And Timmy says, let her croak. Loved it. Let her croak.
Let her croak.
Let her croak.
We're going to enjoy this.
So, meanwhile, Timmy and Tabitha go to the dining room, make martinis. They make a drink, come back, and then Tabitha's like, maybe I should help her. So she tries to do something, and obviously she has no magic, so she can't do anything to Miguel. But then there were multiple times in these episodes where I was like, what are the rules? What are we doing here? She gets a copy of Hidden Passions, of her book, and she says, maybe this book is good for something. And then she opens it up and then closes it really hard, and Miguel just falls back into hell. Why?
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out too. Like, how did that action or spell influence him at all? And even, back to Hecuba, like, he's strangling her. But, I'm first aid CPR certified, and I was told that if you can make noise, then you're still breathing.
Right.
So, like, why couldn't she make a spell? Why couldn't anything else have happened other than flipping it over, opening it, and closing it fast? And, this is soap opera world, so she doesn't even explain it like the rest of them do. Like, they're just thinking out loud. So I would really... I would like to talk to the writers on that one.
I would like to talk to the writers on a lot of ones, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Just in these episodes, specifically with the magic stuff. There was a lot this week that I was like, what the fuck, writers? Can you give us a little bit of something? Can you do a little bit more than this? But we'll get there. So, meanwhile, over at the Bennett home, the kids have fallen asleep, even though hell is in their closet. Simone is there when she has a whole ass house that's not being swallowed by hell. I don't get it. I would not be at this house. I also would have gone and told my parents what was going on at the Bennett home.
I would be the furthest away from my house. I'd be calling, like Eve and TC. I would be getting hold of Sam. The last place in the world I would be is that house.
Yeah, especially if I didn't live there.
Exactly.
I certainly wouldn't be sleeping over, but Simone slept over.
And not in the room. Not in the room with the hell closet right there.
They slept in the hell closet room. Slept in it. I guess they were just so tired from fighting the demons that they just passed out. I don't know, but they all woke up in Charity's room. Kay had not slept. She stood in front of that closet all night, pining for Miguel, feeling guilty, even though she doesn't have a soul. And they have told us over and over and over again that she can't feel anything. She obviously can. They're never going to explain why. My assumption is because she truly loves Miguel, but they literally will not tell us that. They just keep telling us Kay can't feel anything, and then she starts to feel a bunch of shit. So
yeah, she still only feels the love for him. I do wonder, like, how come she doesn't have a soul? She's like kind of borderline demon. How come she couldn't go into hell if she loved him so much to rescue him?
right, that's what I was thinking too, because later on earlier she got hit with some of Father Lonigan's holy water, and in these episodes she gets hit again with some of it, and it burns her. So it would stand to reason, because I don't agree with that. I don't understand why she doesn't have a soul, therefore she's evil. No, that doesn't make sense. To me, if you don't have a soul, it's like neutral territory, right? Like you sold your soul, but you just don't feel anything. I don't know, but she's, I guess, evil, and so holy water affects her. So that would mean that the flames of hell wouldn't affect her, I would think, right?
I would think so too. I think it'd feel fabulous. I think that she would just
it's like a
okay,
sauna.
Hecuba, yeah, where's my man? Let me go get my man, and then he'll actually love me instead of Charity. Oh my god.
A spa day with demons. Yeah, no, she well, we'll get to that. I wonder how much the actress who plays Charity, Molly Stanton, I think is her name. I wonder how much she got paid to do nothing in these episodes. She yells, Miguel. We don't even see her. We see her like once. We don't even see her. She yells Miguel like 4 times, and that's it. I wonder how much she got paid to do that. Probably not a lot, actually. They probably exploited.
Hopefully, her daily rate.
They probably exploited these children because they were all kids at this point, so they probably didn't pay her shit. So Kay's standing in front of this closet. She can't feel anything except for guilt and love for Miguel, I guess. She says she wants to go into the closet and save Miguel, but everybody stops her, which of course they do. No, we're not going to lose a third person into the.
Yeah.
We haven't figured out a way to get anybody out, so maybe don't go in yet, right? Like we still need to figure out how to get people out. We haven't found the exit yet, so it's probably a bad idea to enter the room. But Kay is like, but I need to help Miguel. I need to find a way. Reese is like, well, I'm gonna do some research on the internet, and I'm gonna use your family computer to get on the Vatican's website and find the answers. So he goes downstairs. There's this whole rigmarole. We're gonna blast through this because this was so fucking dumb. He gets on the computer, even though we had already found these documents on his Palm Pilot, but for some reason now we need to go to the home computer and do it there too. And he gets to the website and he can't download what he needs to download. He's like, I found what I need, but I can't download it. Father Lonigan's like, the forces of evil are what did he say? The forces of evil are fighting the transmission of good. Oh my god.
So the forces of evil are fighting the internet that's not plugged in, because I'm pretty sure back then they didn't have Wi-Fi, and I was like, oh, that's a laptop that's not plugged into anything.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there was a little Ethernet cord or a phone cord that we couldn't see, but yes, they don't know how these Passions writers had.
That's just like on. Yeah, it's not on Tor browser or anything. Like it's just
they
right on the website.
They had the AOL discs. They had to put in the computer. It wasn't even a CD-ROM computer. It was like a floppy disk laptop, like a thick laptop, like the one that Rebecca stole.
Weighed like 30 pounds. You could do curls with it.
I had one because my dad worked in IT, and he built computers, was like his job. And at his job, they would get rid of a lot of the old stuff, and he would bring the old stuff home. And so I had one of those giant laptops. It was a compact. I don't even know if they make compacts anymore, but it was a compact with a docking station. It was huge. And I took it to school like a couple of times, but it was so damn heavy. And the battery died within 30 minutes. Like it didn't have a long lasting battery life, but yeah, it was super heavy. But I thought I was so cool. And so did everybody else, actually. Totally. Everybody else thought I was super cool too. So.
Oh yeah, you got a computer, you're looking nice and smart, and you're finding the ladder to hell.
Oh my God, Lucifer's ladder.
What was it called? Lucifer's ladder.
The ladder of Lucifer, some shit like that. Let's talk about it, actually. So while they're on the computer trying to find all this shit, Pilar actually shows up to talk to her son for the first time in 5 months, because they have not seen each other. That's not true. They saw each other briefly at Theresa's engagement party, which Miguel was not going to go to. So they saw each other for the first time in 5 months last night, and now Miguel's in hell. So she shows up and everybody tells her Miguel's in hell. He's trying to save Charity. And she at first is like, no, can't be right, which, okay, I agree. I wouldn't immediately believe 16-year-olds telling me that my son was literally in hell, that he entered through and he got there through a closet. I wouldn't believe it immediately.
However, like, where's the weed? Where's the weed?
Yeah, what have y'all been drinking, smoking? There's a gas leak in here.
Euphoria High School, come on.
Basically. But Father Lauryn is there to vouch for the children. This one adult who has not called any other adults.
Yeah, exactly.
To this house. Call some adults to this house. Call like another priest. Get some backup at the very least. Father Lauryn, do something. Hell has opened up in
all
the
nuns.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like a hotline for this.
This is your Super Bowl. Like, you need a team, buddy. You need a team. And it can't be these children. But anyway, Pilar shows up. Father Lauryn tells her, yes, these kids are telling the truth. Your son is in hell, unfortunately. So then Reese starts to kind of give up on the computer. He's like, I can't do it. It won't download. I know I see what it is that I need, but the documents aren't downloading. And then Father Lauryn prays, and then it works. So great. So basically, I'm gonna jump on ahead. Basically, what Reese finds on the computer is we need something called Lucifer's ladder, or the ladder of Lucifer. I think that's what it was. The ladder of Lucifer. And he's like, we have to make it, basically. But what happened? Look at my notes.
I think he goes into the garage and finds it.
Well, yeah, because right. The things start downloading, but then Hecuba like shoots the computer with lightning, because she's standing outside watching all of this transpire. She's like, shoots the computer with lightning. Father Lauryn's like, evil is attacking you. And Reese is like, well, hopefully I remember everything. It said something about Lucifer's ladder, and that's the thing that we need to get Charity and Miguel out. So yeah, he goes out to the garage. He's like, I'll meet you all upstairs. He comes back upstairs, and they had talked about, how do we make this thing? How do we make Lucifer's ladder? He comes back with it.
So this was in the garage, even though, so like I said, I'm a student of the Housewives, and I do remember in the Real Housewives of New Jersey, a few years ago, they're doing, I don't know, just trying to figure out a storyline. So it was a family. They were only on for like one season. They were terrible. But they were like doing like some like emergency escape plan for if there's a fire. Mm-hmm. And they had like the ladders from the windows. And I mean, is that like common for?
No.
Back east? I don't.
No. Also, that was not like an emergency ladder. He literally was like, I found this stuff in the garage, but he had also told us, and Simone said it too, we have to make Lucifer's ladder. But then he comes back with a rope ladder that he did not make. It's like, isn't there some spell that needs to be cast? Or I guess if you're blessed, it has to be blessed or whatever. But Yeah, he comes back with this giant rope ladder that looks ancient, by the way. Like,
it does.
Yeah, no, that's not something you would keep in your house. And also, if you did keep like an emergency ladder, it would be in the house. It wouldn't be in the garage.
It's
You know what I
already in the
mean?
room. It's already in all the rooms, according to the housewives. It's in all the rooms, ready to go.
Yeah. So, I remember I remember doing like a safety preparedness thing when I was in like elementary school, and it was like, in case of fire, you need those ladders. I remember that specifically, and I remember telling my parents like we should get these ladders, and my mom was like, "We have a
Why?
1-story house. Like we'll just, if we need to go out the window, we'll just go out the window. We don't need a ladder to climb out." But I was like, no, we need these. But whatever. We didn't get them. And our house did catch on fire though.
Oh, no.
Our house actually did.
Everyone got out though.
Yeah, we just walked out. Just walked right out. But he comes back with the ladder from Lucifer or whatever. Lucifer's ladder. Why is it Lucifer's ladder? Shouldn't it be Jesus's ladder? Isn't Jesus? Why would Lucifer want to help you get out of hell?
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't he just want them there? Isn't that the point? Just to keep them there?
I don't know, but I guess because it's a ladder and it needed to start with L, so they're like Lucifer's ladder.
Alliteration.
Yeah, a little alliteration for your afternoons. So Father Lonigan like blesses this ladder and is like, "Please help us, Lord," and he throws it into the fires, and then he and Reese are like holding on to this ladder and like because it's being pulled on by the demons, I guess. I don't know. It flies into hell. And then not Miguel. And then downstairs, Jessica and Simone are just sitting on the couch, and they look up and the ceiling starts to open up and it starts to like storm inside of the house. And then it opens up and you can see like this scene of hell, and the ladder's like flying through that like literal hellhole in the ceiling. And then they can like see Miguel. And again, get the fuck out of this house.
Yeah. If you get out, run.
Especially if you don't live here. There are no stakes for you, Simone. Go home. That's how bad. That's so sad though. That's how bad she doesn't want to go home. Seriously. See, that tells you how badly she gets treated at home.
Her parents aren't even calling the house. Be like, hey, is Simone there? Like, where is she? Is she coming home? What's going on?
That girl does not even want to go home because she knows her parents only care about Whitney. She's like, I'd rather just stay at this hell house.
I'd rather be in hell.
Take my chances with
be in Whitney's shadow everywhere, every breath I take.
That's the real hell. Whitney's shadow. Yeah. So anyway, Hecuba is trying to do everything she can to thwart them. Miguel gets on the ladder, is trying to climb out. Hecuba shoots lightning at him, and he's still fine. Again, I will say she's probably just not a very good witch, because how does the lightning not affect anyone? Yeah. How can you not kill people with literal lightning?
Weak powers.
Yeah. I don't know. Why can't she kill people? I felt that way about Tabitha too. Why can't you? I mean, you're shooting lightning from your hands. That's crazy.
I would love that. I would absolutely love to be able to shoot lightning from my hands.
At the very least, they should be like stunned, right? Like they should at least not be able to get up for a little bit. But
frozen.
Everybody's always
fine. The heart
fine.
should stop. Everybody's always fine. Get up and they start fighting.
Even after being shot by lightning. So Miguel is climbing the ladder. Meanwhile, Kay notices Hecuba outside trying to stop Miguel from coming up the ladder. So she goes outside and starts to like fight with Hecuba and literally tackles her, which was great. But of course, Hecuba gets the upper hand because she is a witch and has powers, albeit them weak. But she gets the upper hand on her. And this was cool, actually. I liked this. This is showing some growth for Kay. Hecuba says, it's not going to be any good for you if Miguel and Charity get out of hell. Charity's going to come back and she's going to remember that you didn't do anything to save her and that you sold your soul to me. And Kay's like, I don't care.
I just want my man.
Yep. Let the chips fall where they may. And I I love this for Kay. I love it. Because for a moment, I thought that she was going to be like, you're right. I don't want that. But no, but you know what? This has to be rock bottom, right? Like,
oh yes,
hell has opened up in your house, literally. So Kay goes back in the house to try and help Miguel some more. She's like, I gotta save Miguel. And so she runs back in the house and does nothing. Everybody's just looking up into this hellhole. And finally, Miguel like just falls through the hole, right? I think Father Lonigan says a prayer. He says a bunch of prayers. And Miguel,
and Pilar is on her knees, like they're all just trying to get everybody back.
Yeah,
I think going in there.
I think Father Lonigan told everybody we all need to pray. And so they all prayed. And Tabitha, by the way, has snuck into the house at this point and is just like hiding behind a random love seat. Nobody noticed. Yeah. That's how much fucking chaos is going on in this house, though. Nobody noticed. Father Lonigan did. And he was like, I don't know. I don't recognize your scent, basically, because she had, Hecuba had masked her evil scent. And so they have a very brief conversation. But the funny part of this is Father Lonigan tells everybody, we all need to pray, get down on your knees and pray to the Lord for help. And Pilar turns to Tabitha and says, Tabitha, pray with us. And Tabitha's like, oh no, my arthritis is acting up. I couldn't possibly kneel. And then I guess she leaves. She ducks out of there because the next time we see her, she's
Tabitha. Of course, Tabitha's here. You know why else wouldn't she be here? The crazy old lady.
So they pray, and Miguel falls through the hole, but he doesn't have a pulse. Reese checks his pulse. He's like, he's dead. Miguel is dead. And then these children, not adults, children are like, well, we took that CPR class at the hospital. Let's do CPR. Okay. All right. You know what? I get this, but why not start the chest compressions and call 911?
Yeah. Who's calling 911? Who's getting help everywhere else? That's the first, like I said, I was CPR and first aid certified. It's you point to someone, tell them to call 911, and then you start working on them.
Yeah.
First things. Yep.
Yeah. Why not call the EMT? Why not call the ambulance? Why not? I mean, Pilar doesn't have a car, and I'm sure Father Lonigan can't drive. He is blind. Because I was about to say Pilar could just drive him to the hospital, but she doesn't have a car. We know that is well established. So okay, but she's the mother. Call 911. You're the adult in the room, Pilar.
Someone call 911.
Somebody call some professionals to help with this situation. But Miguel's dead, and the children decide to do CPR on him, and he comes to. He wakes up, and what's the first word out of his mouth? What do y'all think it is?
Charity.
This boy is obsessed. I can't with him. I can't stand him. I can't stand Charity, but I really cannot stand him either. The first word out of his mouth is Charity, and then he pops up like nothing. And that's another thing. Why isn't he injured in any way? We've been told that the flames of hell are like absorbing them and swallowing them whole, and like it's agonizing for them. He doesn't have a burn, a scratch. The only thing he does have is he's covered in what they call ectoplasm.
Oil.
They called it ectoplasm. Yeah, it was baby oil. It was tinted baby oil.
All of his muscles are still shining, all that stuff.
It was personally, I was like, this is gross. He looks gross. But they called it ectoplasm. But he's fine. He jumps right up and he's like, I gotta save Charity. And then he starts to run upstairs to run back into the flames of hell after we did all this
Charity.
for you.
Leave her. Yeah.
He's like, I was so close. I had her. She was right there. I was so close. I got to go back to find her. And everybody's like, we just got you out. Like, let's just yell into the flames and see if she can just grab the motherfucking rope herself. Like, girl, grab Lucifer's ladder, Charity. We're doing what we can for you. Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
They're doing everything they can.
I tell my students all the time, I can't do everything for you. I've done everything I can do. And if I were Miguel, I think that's where I would be. I've done
Yeah.
everything I can do for you. You got to do for yourself at this point. Like, I'm not coming back to hell.
Hell no.
I'm
Absolutely
not going
not.
back to hell. So Orpheus decides to go back into the underworld, but Hecuba closes off the door so he can't get back into the rooms. Luckily, you know, for that's what's best for him, frankly.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
So he comes back downstairs.
Hecuba is saving the day on that one, that's for sure.
And he comes back downstairs, and Father Lonigan tells him, you're focused on the wrong things. You need to be focused on your love for Charity. You need to be focused on trying to spiritually connect, and then you'll be able to save her that way instead of trying to physically go and grab her. So your love connection will make her stronger so that she can help herself, basically. And so then he starts saying, Lord, please bring Charity back to me. I love her so much. She loves me. She needs me. Ugh, this prayer was weird, but it seems to work, because then Charity starts yelling out to Miguel, because Miguel was like yelling into the void and hearing nothing back. And now we can hear Charity again. And she's going, Miguel, help me, save me. Girl, grab the ladder.
Yeah, grab the ladder, get out. Miguel's not in there. Just help yourself, like you said.
I'm tired of her.
She's just tired of her. She's just ruining everything, always. It's always about Charity. And that's why I said, like, Pilar, there's no way that Pilar would have let that happen. Just she would have been like, I don't like her. And what Mexican mothers say, go. You know, like, for Mexican children are terrified of their mothers. So the fact that none of them are terrified of Pilar, that's definitely a red flag there.
Well, she's never home. She's never home for them to be terrified. They're scared of, you know who they're scared of? It's Luis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're scared of Luis. But yeah. So Charity won't help herself. She's screaming, help me, Miguel, help me, Miguel, help me. And so he keeps praying, love will see us through, kind of shit. And then Hecuba's like, oh shit, they're going to succeed in getting Charity out. I need to call in reinforcements. And I wrote this one down. She says, little bits of evil, hear my spell. Wake from your slumber, give Miguel hell. And then, y'all, what the fuck? Then these tiny little gargoyles wake up, but it looks like they were just laying down on the floor. Like, they didn't like appear and materialize. It looked like they had been lying there on the floor for a while, and then they like sleeping at the Bennett home, and then they wake up and they start like shooting fire, and it's such bad CGI. Yeah, I don't even think it was so bad, because I think normally when they do those kinds of things, because the gargoyles are like flying around and shooting fire at the kids and Father Lonigan and Pilar, and they're all like swatting them away and trying to fight them, but they're like missing them by a mile. So I feel like the direction in this scene was, just act like you're fighting demons that are flying around you, and we'll just put them in with CGI, instead of, here are like some poles for you to like swat at, and that's where we're going to put the gargoyles, right? Because they were missing them by a full, 2 and 3 feet.
Yeah, not even anywhere. They weren't even swiping near where they were.
Yeah, it was bad. It was so bad. Hilarious. I was on the train watching it, and I was cracking up. I'm sure the people on the subway, anybody who noticed, because a lot of these New York people are PhDs in minding their own business, but we mind our business over here. But anybody who wasn't minding their business and saw me probably thought I was a crazy person and didn't want to sit next to me, because I was cracking the fuck up, because it took me by surprise, honestly. It really did. Those gargoyles were so bad.
Yeah, and the fact that, like, even the actors. I mean, if this was real, then I'd be like picking up like a pillow. I'd be picking up other things to swat at it, not my own hands. Oh my gosh, I'd have a
I
broom.
I would leave the house.
Yeah, just run out, just leave. Yep, run out
Just
the
leave.
door.
Front door is right there. It's not locked.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's in
Yep.
and out. Just go. Just leave. It's that simple. It's that simple. Ugh.
That's simple.
But anyway, they attack. Father Lonigan uses all his holy water. He's got so much holy water, this guy. He uses holy water and he sprays it on the gargoyles. And eventually they all turn to stone and crumble and fall. And but by that time, Charity's been sucked back into hell. Like, we don't know where she is anymore. So oh, actually, I lied. Well, you know what? I'm gonna just pretend like I didn't. So then Miguel starts to like pray that prayer about loving Charity again, and then she comes back. Bing bang boom. And he tells her to get on the ladder, Lucifer's ladder, and she starts climbing it. And that's basically the end, except Hecuba decides, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go and just cut the rope, because they apparently had tied it to Charity's bed. Because that was another thing. That was one of the things that I was like, what the hell? Because the last time we saw the ladder, Father Lonigan and Reese were like holding it because it was being pulled into hell, right? Then they come downstairs, but the ladder's still there. So we find out they tied it to Charity's bed, which you think that the bed would just have been pulled. Like, the bed couldn't possibly be that heavy. Yeah. Like, is it bolted to the wall like a hotel bed?
Yeah, you would think that. I mean, my bed, it's on wheels, so
right.
I wouldn't think that bed could really hold up to demons pulling out a ladder from hell.
Yeah, my bed definitely is not that heavy. But Charity's bed apparently is made of cement and lead, and it's probably so uncomfortable. It's that heavy.
It was the bed was like built into the house. That's what it is.
Yeah. So Hecuba goes upstairs and starts to saw away, manually sawing at this rope. Why can't she use her magic to zap it?
Yeah, exactly. Just a little zip zap, and then it's burning. It's done.
I don't understand. So she's like sawing away like in a cartoon. Like it was like Acme Corporation. Like, you remember those boxes from Looney Tunes? It was very, I've got the special tool. And she starts like sawing away. And she's getting absolutely nowhere on it. Nowhere at all. So that's where we leave it with magic this week. It was a long one. I've been talking for a long time. I'm sorry, y'all, but the show is what it is. And it was a lot this week, actually. It was really a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah.
So we're going to take a break. Well, actually, before we take a break, do you have anything to add about magic?
I mean, I did love when Timmy sort of gave the offhanded diss to the show creators. He said, "Oh, look at these effects. So Spielberg couldn't do better." Like, was that... I would love to know if that was improv or if that was in the script or anything. Because I feel like, because I love the Timmy Tabitha dynamic. I really do feel like they play off each other so well that I would just be fooling around the whole time if I was them. Be like, okay, what's our storyline? Okay, let's just have fun.
Oh, for sure. For sure. A script. What script? We don't use a script.
Yeah, what script? Like, there's no script here.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, we're just gonna jump on this thing. We're gonna steal a bunch of books. Oh, cool, perfect.
Yeah, it's just us making magic. So we're gonna take a quick break. And I'm going to say thank you to all of the patrons over on the Patreon. Thank you to Munashe, Marcus, Erica, Brelyn, Lisa, Zach, Sid, Sarana, Dustin, Heather, Randall, Ashley, Shannon, Hannah, Camelia, Monique, Samantha, Amy, Jeanette, Eric, Jamie, Fantasia, and our newest patron, Sean. Thank you all so much. You help me tremendously. I honestly cannot tell you how helpful it is to have people who care about the show and want to see it continue and help basically help produce this show, because it would not, I don't know that it would still be getting done without the patrons. So thank you all so very much. And if you also would like to become a patriot, if you also a patriot, if you also would like to become a patron, you can just go on over to patreon.com/passions podcast and sign up for any tier that you find agreeable. All right. So moving on, Lauren, before we go on, is there anything that you would like to tell the people where they can find you, where they can find your book, what your book's about? I have it here, everybody. Lauren was very nice to send me the nicest, thank you so much, the nicest gift package with her book and some Mardi Gras beads and a candle that I love. So thank you for that, by the way. So take it away.
So yeah, my book is called Love and Mardi Gras. You can get it where all books are sold. And, instead of witches and things, there's some voodoo in there. I always like to say that Theresa was the first astrology girl, because that's really big, especially in LA and where I'm at right now. So there's kind of astrology girl vibes in there. But it's just a story about a girl who goes to New Orleans on a whim, last minute trip. She's heartbroken, and she ends up attending Mardi Gras, and just the people that she meets and the things that she encounters really kind of snaps her out of her heartbreak. And it's a very fun ride. And especially if you've been to New Orleans or Mardi Gras, if you love to travel, it's sort of a travel diary in a way. It's loosely based on all of my trips. It's complete fiction, but it's like I've been to New Orleans and Mardi Gras multiple times. I have family and friends there, so I just had COVID, all the time in the world during COVID to write it, and I got connected with a publisher, and here we are. Now you can buy it where all books are sold.
I love it. I've been reading it. I just started it yesterday. So I'm just on like chapter 4, but it is an easy read, everybody, because listen, that's good for me, because I need an easy read, and it reads very well. And I'm liking it so far. I see where it's going. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yes, it's an easy read. It's for the beach, it's for the pool, it's for the plane. I wanted it to be able to fit into your purse. And so, if you have any questions directly to me, feel free to connect with me on Instagram. My direct Instagram is at Lauren EP. My Bookstagram for all my other book nerds, it's Love and Mardi Gras. And I just started a Substack. My manager told me that I need to do that. I'm not taking payments for it yet. So if you just want to start following, and I don't think I will, especially for regular things, but I have a couple of other projects in the work, including the sequel, because people are kind of begging me, like,
nice.
Well, what happens? What's going to happen next? So I'm trying to think of the sequel. So I'll probably maybe ask for paid subscribers for inside information for that. But for now, if you're on Substack, I'm at Author Lauryn, and TikTok at Lauren Author. Usually any combination like that, you'll find me. And I made a NFT for the book that's available on OpenSea. So if you're into that, if any of the Passions people are into that, you can check out the NFT on OpenSea or reach out to me for any questions.
Awesome.
I'm always available.
All right. And I will link as much of that as I can in the description for you. So y'all can check the description of this episode to find Lauren's book and find her social media pages. All right. So with that, we're going to move on to Theresa, basically. Theresa and Ethan. The next half of this show is about Theresa and Ethan, basically, everybody. It's a lot. I'm going to try to get through. I'm going to try to get this bring this in under 2 hours, but man, we are already at an hour. So I talk too much. I don't know how to edit myself. And that's crazy. Actually, I skipped over a lot. I actually skipped over a lot in magic. and that I was like, nope, got to move on. You do not have the time to go off on this tangent. So I'm going to try and keep this under 2 hours. So, let's start actually with Shuis, but Theresa and Ethan kind of get woven into this very quickly. So we open and Sheridan and Luis are canoodling as they do on Sheridan's couch. And Sheridan is just kind of musing about, oh, poor Ethan. It's going to be so hard for him. It's got to be so hard for him now that he's not going to be a crane. He's so used to having money. He's so used to having a certain lifestyle. And every time she says one of these things, like the first thing was, too bad that, poor Ethan, that he doesn't get to be a crane anymore. And Luis is like, that's probably for the best for him, honestly. And and then she's like, yeah, but he grew up in a certain lifestyle and he's always had a lot of money. And now she says, and this was offensive, she says, now he's going to have to live the life of a poor person.
Yes.
This man has an Ivy League degree. This man went to fucking Harvard or Yale or something. He has a Harvard law degree, basically. And she's like, he's going to have to live the life of a poor person. Spoken like a true billionaire. The lawyers are the poor people of the US to them. What are we? Yeah. What are those of us who live below the poverty line considered? Not even people. They think of us as animals. Sheridan, Jesus Christ.
Gosh, he's gonna have to live the life is showing.
She was so like pathetic about, like sympathetic about it. It was so like giving him so much sympathy. Oh, he's gonna have to be poor now. Girl, so I know.
It's like when I said that I would, when I told some friends that I was writing a book and I, got connected to a publisher, they were like, oh, I'm like, okay, well, that's not the end of the world. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Why would they have any kind of like sympathy about that? They should be like, that's amazing.
I mean, most of them were, but like writers, you don't really make a lot of money off your stuff, at least at first. So it's cause for concern. But I mean, Ethan, yeah, he's a lawyer.
Yeah, Harvard. Not only is he a lawyer, he has the kinds of connections that most people could only ever dream about. So unless Alistair and Julian purposefully make things hard for him, he will be fine.
But even then, like, I mean, and that's kind of weird, where I wish that Ethan annoys me, but like, why can't he act like a lawyer? Because every lawyer that I know would have just been problem solving, like, oh, like, I got this, like, ooh, wow, Tupac mode. Just I fuck your clique and the clique you claim, like, I'm gonna get mine, like, I worked hard for it. Or like, he would be like calling the office of Harvard or calling his classmates, getting like help. He would be advising his mother. Like, he wouldn't be just like, I'm poor.
Yeah.
I'm just an attorney.
That is such a good point. That because the way Ethan took this news, which listen, in his defense, it is big news. I don't know that I would be able to keep it together, compose myself if I found out that my father was not actually my father and my real father was somebody that I actually hated. I just feel like I would need a little bit of time to adjust. But yeah, it is interesting that once he did get past, like, because he, like last week, he was on some other like very emotional throwing a tantrum kind of shit, which again,
right,
I get it, you're going through something. But now he seems to have like worked through that. And it seems, and you should be in the problem solving stage now, right? Like, you should be saying, okay, let me see, who can I call? I need to get a job. I need to do these things. But he's like worried about a wedding.
Yeah, that would be the last. I'd be like, okay, I can get married next year. This year, I just need to focus on who I am, who I want to be. And I mean, yeah, he's not a crane, but for my friends who have had some baby daddy issues, like I'm pretty sure Julian would have signed the birth certificate. There's trust funds connected to his social security number. It's not just I'm not a crane, I'm out. Like he still has
He
stuff. And he's a Winthrop. Like I'd be like, I'm a mother effing Winthrop. Like
That's what I'm saying.
my grandpa was a governor. Like I still got stuff. I'm not poor.
That's what I said too. It's like Ivy does not come from poor people. Like Ivy does not come from poor people, so he doesn't have to be poor. He kept saying he doesn't have a name, and it's like, yeah, you could choose 3 names. Actually, you could continue being a crane because literally it's on your birth certificate, and there's not a fucking thing anybody can do about it. Like they can't petition the court to make you change your last name. So you could still be Ethan Crane if you wanted to. You could change your name to Winthrop, or you could change it to Bennett. You have 3 names to change to. 3 decent names. But anyway,
Bennett's still a prominent name in Harmony. Like he's the chief of police. That's not a bad thing to have.
Yeah, and everybody keeps telling him how great Sam is. I mean, yeah. he won't listen because he's an idiot. No. Ethan is an idiot.
He's still a crane.
He's a crane. He is a crane at heart. I mean, he really is. But anyway, Sheridan's talking about how it must be so awful to be a poor person, and Louise is like, you mean like me? Listen, he was like, you mean like the lifestyle you're gonna have if you marry a police officer? And she was like, oh no, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry. And he just like gets up and walks away. And to be honest, I would have needed a moment too.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh.
Like you just dragged me. You didn't do it on purpose, but you just kind of dragged me, bitch. Like, oh my gosh. So she then
So tell me how you really think about me. That's
right. So she then goes to apologize to him, and she says, you didn't understand what I was trying to say. Like, wait, actually, am I in the right place? Yes. Okay. So, he says, after she apologizes, he tries to just kind of pretend like it didn't happen. He's like, let's not even talk about it. Well, let's go get some lobster rolls. And she's like, at 9 a.m., which I could go for lobster rolls any time of the day. Personally, I love lobster rolls. And y'all, it's starting to be lobster roll season here on the East Coast. I am so excited. Any longtime listeners will know how much I love lobster rolls. And I'm very excited because it's lobster roll season. Anyway, he says, let's go get some lobster rolls at 9 a.m. I mean, a dream man. My dream man wants to go get lobster rolls in the morning. Yes, please.
I will say though, ever since, I mean, maybe this is why I still love it, is the actor who plays Luis, was it Galen Garing?
Mm-hmm.
He's like my wheelhouse, just like tall, darker features, handsome, all that stuff. So yeah, if a guy that looked like him asked me to go anywhere, I'm going.
He is my bias. Like that is my aesthetic. Like he is everything. He is he is fine.
Totally.
Damn, he is fine. Ooh. But let's move on. We'll move on. But yes, if he asked me to go get anything, I would be like, yeah, let's go get that peanut butter sandwich at 9 a.m. Yeah, let's go. Sure.
Anywhere with you.
But not only is it with him, it's lobster rolls at that. Butter, lobster, bread. You can't go wrong.
So good. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet.
Oh no.
I don't know if it shows. But he doesn't want to talk about it. He's like, let's just go get lobster rolls and not talk about this. And she's like, no, we need to talk about it. I want to talk through it. And Luis is like, you know what? You're right. Let's talk it out. And he says, you and Ethan both have had money your whole life and never had a second thought about it. And I can't give you that kind of life, basically. And Sheridan kind of interrupts and says, well, at least Ethan is a lawyer. He can get a job. I've never had a job in my life, but y'all, Sheridan speaks French and can fly a plane. She could get a job. Like, she could be a pilot. She has her pilot's license. She could get a job. I refuse to believe that Sheridan couldn't get a job. She could. But she says,
and then, I mean, it's not like Sheridan doesn't have like a literal trust fund that just will bankroll her forever. Anyway, regardless of who she marries.
I think we're working under the assumption that anytime anybody goes against Alistair, he will cut them off financially. That's what they kind of have the groundwork that was laid in these episodes where Ivy is basically going to be destitute. And Sheridan talks as if she would be too without the Crane money. You know what I mean? So I feel like I agree with you. She should have a trust fund, but look at how Alistair just cut Ethan off immediately. Like, he hung up in his face when Ethan just wanted to say goodbye. So I don't think, and Alistair actually, first of all, Alistair in the very first episodes was talking about killing Sheridan. Like, he has no qualms about murdering his daughter. So I think he would be okay with like canceling her trust fund or whatever the fuck.
Like,
doing what he has to do.
Getting her out.
Yeah, doing whatever he has to do to like stick it to her and screw her any way he can. So I think we work under the assumption that you're gonna lose everything when you go against the family, basically. That's where I'm at with it. Anyway.
Can't go against the family. No one goes against the family.
Never go against the family. So Sheridan says, at least Ethan's a lawyer, but I've never had a job in my life, and I have no practical skills. I've never even grocery shopped. Huh? Why are they making her like this? Why did they write this like this?
She bought flowers every day to take to the Princess Diana's grave, so she's done something.
That's a deep cut, and yes, she did. So yes, she's gone to shops. She knows how to shop. Like, grocery shopping isn't that different from shoe shopping.
Yeah, exactly.
You buy the thing, you pick the things you want, and you buy them. Whatever. Anyway, she says she has no practical skills like the other women in his life. Beth owns her own business, and Pilar makes everything she touches beautiful. Okay, but she doesn't know how to do any of those things. And then Luis starts talking about, every dime of my check is accounted for before I ever even see it, because I have bills to pay. And my family still depends on me to help pay the bills. And he says, there's no way I could ever give you the life that you're used to. And it's so obvious that we just need to face facts. Things are only going to get tougher from here with time. And he says, I respect your honesty about how much you depend on the Crane fortune. And then she goes, are you breaking up with me? Basically, she's like, are you ending our relationship? And he says, he takes a double take. He's like, me? I thought you were. I loved this, because this is a conversation that these two have kind of had in the past, and it has not gone in this direction. They've grown so much, and I love it.
They really have. Yeah, it's from being enemies and hating each other to actually falling in love and talking about kind of real things that matter in their world. And I mean, money does matter in real life for relationships. I mean, not on the Crane level, but I mean, that's like the number one causes of fights and divorce. So it's definitely something to consider.
It's an important thing to talk about in any relationship that's like a committed relationship. It's important to be on the same page about your finances in general. So, it's good that they're having this talk. It's very mature of them, because basically up until now, once they got together, it's basically just been like, I love you too.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna leave you. We're never gonna break us up. No one's ever gonna break us apart. And now they're having like a real conversation that people in their situation would truly have to have.
The love bubble is slowly deflating. Just a little bit.
Yeah, but it's gonna inflate a little bit again, because he's like, no, I don't want to break up with you. And she's like, I don't want to break up with you either. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. I love you. I love you. I love you. They make out some together for a little bit. And then Luis says, you know, I guess I'm turning into my sister. He was like, I guess my sister's been rubbing off on me because she always says that basically love conquers all. And if two people love each other enough, they can overcome any obstacle. And that's how I feel right now about you, Sheridan. So, yeah, that's where they are. And then they talk about Ethan and Theresa, and Luis says he's worried about Ethan marrying Theresa, not because he's a crane anymore, but because he's worried that he won't be able to give Theresa the kind of life that he feels that his sister deserves. So we're gonna skip ahead and talk about Ethan and Theresa. Theresa has decided she has to give back these ugly pearls. I wouldn't have accepted them in the first place. They were hideous. Yeah, actually, yes, I would have, because they're super expensive. I just would never have worn them.
No.
But she decides she has to give them back because they belong to the Cranes. So she goes to the mansion without telling Ethan that that's where she's going and that's what she's doing, to give these pearls back to Julian. Goes over there, does that. And Ethan comes in while all of that is happening. So I'm going to very quickly get to that part of my notes. Sorry. Everything's in kind of disarray this week because it was just kind of all over the place. Ethan and Theresa were back and forth a lot.
Oh, yes. 1 minute he's complaining about being too poor to love her. And then she's like, oh, I have my ring. This is the only thing in the world that I need. Yeah. And then the next, she's like emptying out her bank account to provide for him.
Yes, child. So
that's like Tinder swindler stuff right there. I'm just gonna give you all my money. Oh my gosh.
I haven't watched the Tinder Swindler, but I'm going to. Like, it's on my list. I heard it's so good. Is it? Yeah.
I mean, I just, there's parts of it that I'm like, how did these girls fall for this? But I mean, Theresa would have 100%.
Listen, I like to think that I couldn't be scammed by a man. You know what I mean? I like to think that about myself, but I feel like you don't. Well, personally, I don't have the money. Nobody's going to target me. Like, I don't have money to give you. Like, even if I wanted to, I couldn't. I don't have the money. But, I always think, I think these girls, sometimes people get into situations and they don't see it until afterwards, right? Like, you don't see how like crazy it was. My ex-boyfriend still owes me $350 right now. And I gave that money to him well after we had broken up. Okay.
Oh, man.
It's just like things where you like, when you care about a person, because I still like love him and care about him, we just are not good together. You do things. So I feel like, I could be emotionally manipulated into some things that I maybe didn't want to do. I could see it. I can see myself doing it. Not giving anybody $35,000 or anything like crazy sums of money. Yeah. And that's not even just because I don't have it. That's because that's a crazy amount of money to ask somebody for.
Yeah. Like, and certainly not emptying out my bank account for my, fiance who's wearing all designer clothes. He could easily sell every item in his closet, all of his watches. I mean, how many Rolexes does Ethan have? Just sell it.
Well, and not only that, why do you have to give him the cash? Why can't y'all just have a bank? Why can't you just like add him to the bank account?
Exactly. They're going to get married.
You're going to close out your account, And you know what? This week, one of my biggest takeaways from these episodes was about women and financial independence, because Ivy is finding herself in a situation where she is not protected financially. Sheridan is also finding herself in a situation where she is not protected financially. She doesn't have anything, right? Mm-hmm. That is hers. And it's because they let these men control their finances and did not maintain their own independence. So the fact that Theresa in these episodes is now kind of handing her financial independence over to Ethan, I don't know if the writers meant to do that where I'm making those connections, but I'm making those connections. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, Theresa, girl, no, learn from Ivy's mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Ivy has made a huge mistake. I mean, how the fuck do you marry a billionaire and you do not squirrel away money?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got your own stuff. You get your own little side accounts going on, just a little separate, just a couple $100,000.
Yes, I'm skimming cash constantly. If I'm married to a millionaire, a billionaire, I am, especially to one that I don't like and I'm not in love with and doesn't love me. I'm taking as much money as I can.
I'm buying a little property, little side house somewhere
in my motherfucking name. You're not going to be able to get your hands on my stuff. No.
Exactly.
But Ivy, and it's crazy because Ivy's so smart, but she just thought she would be Mrs. Crane forever. Whatever. But anyway, Theresa gives back the jewels. We've gone off on a tangent, but that's okay. Theresa gives back the jewels to Julian. Ethan overhears it, comes in and apologizes to Theresa that she had to do that, and that he feels so bad. Ivy tells her she didn't even need to do it.
I wouldn't.
I would have, because I get why she did it. Like she said, they're Crane heirlooms. Like, you're not
okay. Oh yeah, I forgot it was the heirloom. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
like if it was just random pieces of jewelry, it'd be a different thing. But they've said they were Crane heirlooms, and you have talked about that, and you have made the decision that you are no longer going to be a Crane and accept anything from a Crane, and we are simpatico. Like, we are in this union together, in this thing together. So she gave them back. So I get that. Then Rebecca.
Oh, Rebecca with her cachet Chico dresses.
Yes, she looks so bad.
Oh my God.
Like, she's a beautiful woman. Don't get me wrong. She looks gorgeous, but they put her they make her look as cheap as possible. It has to be on purpose that they make her look so cheap. Cause she looks so cheap. Like, you know how Fran Drescher used to dress in The Nanny?
Yeah.
It's like that to me, except tackier.
It's definitely tacky.
So
she's the queen of the gold diggers.
She's the queen of the mean. So Rebecca is whispering in Julian's ear while all of this is going on, because Ethan is now apologizing to Theresa. Julian says to Rebecca, whatever the girl is, it doesn't seem that she's a gold digger. And Rebecca says to him, well, there's one way to find out. You should test her and ask for her engagement ring back. And that's going to prove that she's not a gold digger. How is that how are we still at she's a gold digger when Ethan has been disinherited entirely? She's given back the jewels. She's told this man she loves him for who he is. She doesn't care if he's a Crane or not. Why are y'all even still having this conversation with her, with each other, about her being a gold digger? You know?
Yeah, because Rebecca, she's the ultimate gold digger. So then she assumes all other women are exactly like her.
She's projecting, for sure.
Definitely projecting, for
She's
sure.
projecting. So Julian's like, no, I don't really want to do that. You know, he says, I don't have anything against Ethan. You know, he didn't know anything about what was going on. Julian shows a little humanity. Rebecca is the worst thing for him. He's going, he is giving into his baser instincts and then beyond, because his instinct was to let him keep the ring, you know?
Yeah.
But Rebecca pushes him to take it back, saying, well, that ring costs more than her mother makes in an entire year, which, by the way, y'all should be paying Pilar more, because it was not that nice of a ring. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it costs more than 30 grand.
I hope not. I hope
so.
That it's a lot more.
This woman's been working for you for 20 something years, and you don't pay her any more than $30,000 a year.
You know what they say? Sometimes the rich ones are the cheap ones.
Pilar needs to quit her job. I've been saying that though. Quit your
Oh,
job.
yeah.
There's got to be other places to work in this town.
There's a lot of other rich families
and
that
jobs
will definitely treat her better.
Jobs where you can clock in and clock out, right? Like she spent so
Exactly.
much of her time at the Crane Mansion. It's ridiculous. She didn't even see her kids grow up, basically. But Rebecca convinces him to take the ring back. So he goes over and tells her, oh, because the money that it was bought with is Crane money. Ethan didn't buy it with his money. So he goes over, he asks he says, Theresa, I'm glad to hear that you don't need any material possessions, because I'm going to have to ask for your engagement ring back. And this is after she is looking at it and saying,
this is Ethan, the most beautiful thing.
Yeah, she's like, I don't need anything except for my engagement ring. She says that to him. She's like, because it's a symbol of your love to me. And that's when Julian comes over. That's when Rebecca gets the idea to take back the ring. And then Julian comes over and asks for the ring. Theresa understandably gets pretty upset. So does Ethan, who says, no, you cannot take the ring back from her. Like, I bought that. And Julian says, how? And he says, well, I charged it. Ethan's so dumb. He's so stupid.
Okay, I have a theory, and if God ever answers my prayers so that I can meet Dan Levy and the creators of Schitt's Creek. Have you watched that?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's like I charged it on my card. Like, where's it from? Paris. Oh, I wrote it off. Of what? Just off. Why are we talking about this?
It's a write-off. I wrote it off.
It's a write-off. And he was like, I mean, it's like Sheridan's totally like Alexis. Like, oh, the FBI knew where I was the entire time. And, I've been 6 hours in a trunk of a car getting through the border of Thailand. I know how to be quiet.
Oh my God, they are absolutely the Roses. They are absolutely the Roses. Oh, that's hilarious.
Sheridan being kidnapped from a cartel and all this stuff. Same thing with Alexis. She's like, we ran away from boarding school and I partied for the cartel in Hong Kong.
Listen, now that I'm never gonna unsee that. Now I'm never gonna unsee it. I'm never gonna unsee it.
All roads lead back to Schitt's Creek in my life.
Schitt's Creek is such a good show. I actually was thinking about restarting it because I only watched it one time all the way through. I think it's time to watch it all the way through again, because it's one. I think it's one of those shows that has great rewatch value.
And then you'll see the similarities between.
Listen, I'm already seeing it. I'm already seeing now that you pointed it out to me, I can't unsee it at all.
Exactly. I charged it, my credit card.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I charged it to what? He's like, to the Crane family account. And so I think as the words were coming out of his mouth, he was like, oh, I see where you're going with that now.
But again, okay, so back to Ethan being a lawyer. So wait, he never worked for the family at all?
He did. He worked. So he no longer, they say this in these episodes, like in passing, he was working apparently at the Crane law firm. Before it was that he was working as a lawyer for Crane Industries, but I'm not going to harp on that. He was apparently the Cranes have a whole ass law firm. Why can't I say firm? They have a whole ass law firm, and he was working there, but he has now resigned his job because he's no longer a Crane, which I kind of get.
He's still with making his own money though, a little bit. Didn't save any of that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, did they not give him a check? Did he not get a salary? I'm confused. I'm very confused. Why doesn't he have any money at all?
Yeah, he's not a good lawyer. If I was like if he was one of my attorneys, I'd, fire him. Be like, all right, you're not going to fight for me or anything. You're going to get me in jail. So bring me Elle Woods or somebody that's better equipped.
He doesn't have any money at all. What gets established in these episodes, which is not where I was with this. I was like, surely he has some money, he has a job. Like I have more money than he has in the bank. Crazy. He's a lawyer.
Crazy. Yep.
So I won't get over it. But anyway, Theresa agrees to take off the ring, gives it back. She cries. And then she immediately just bolts out of the house without saying a fucking word. And then Ethan runs after her a little bit, but stops short at the door. And Julian comes up to him and says, even though you're not my son, I still care about you. And maybe it's for the best that she ran off and left you and abandoned you the minute that she found out that you were penniless. This is the narrative that they're spinning now, that the minute she found out he was penniless, that she ran off. But that's not true. She already knew. She already knew. She came back to give you the necklace.
Yeah,
it's crazy to me.
Giving the things back, knowing.
It's crazy to me the mental acrobatics these people did to get to a place where they're like, oh well, Theresa's a gold digger because she found out you're penniless and she ran off, even though she found out that a day ago. This is not new information to her. So,
but even then, she's known about it even longer than that because she was the one that had the paperwork.
Yes, correct. So then they start to kind of sow these little seeds of doubt in his head, saying, Theresa's maybe she really. Gwen pipes up. Oh, fucking Gwen! I can't stand Gwen. Gwen pipes up and is like,
so why does she still want him if he's not a crane and poor? Then
my theory is
for the win theory, or
my theory is she just doesn't want Theresa to have him. She doesn't want Ethan. She doesn't want Ethan. She doesn't love Ethan. Ethan has hurt her tremendously. She and honestly, she has hurt him a lot. Like, if you really loved a person, you would not have agreed to have this information sent out into the world the way that it was. Like, if you loved him, and I think I've probably said this before and y'all probably think I'm a broken record, but if you loved him, when you found out that those documents were on Theresa's computer, you would have immediately just showed them to him. Simple.
Look at what Theresa is hiding from you.
Exactly.
I'm still the winner.
Exactly. But that's not what she did. And like I said, if she loved him, she would not have put him through this kind of hurt and pain. And then she keeps looking at him like, Ethan's in so much pain. I would respect Gwen more if she would just say, I'm doing this for revenge. I would really respect it. I really would, because it would at least make sense. Like I would understand the why. I would understand, like, oh, well, he broke up with me the night before our wedding because he had been cheating on me this entire time with my maid of honor. I would understand you wanting to ruin his life.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would too.
I would probably be on her side, but because she's doing this whole rigmarole, this whole bullshit about, I care about Ethan, I love Ethan. Bitch, you do not care about Ethan. No, you do not love Ethan. You hate Theresa. Those are not the two. Those things are not the same. No. So she pipes up and says, Ethan, maybe Theresa, all she ever wanted was the crane lifestyle. And Rebecca says some things along those lines as well. Julian says, you may not be a crane anymore, but you are a Harvard or an Ivy League grad, a lawyer. You could have a perfectly respectable lifestyle if you didn't marry a house servant. Those were his words, not mine. Disgusting. Disgusting. And I was pissed because I was waiting on Ethan to say something to these motherfucking people. These people have been awful to you. They've been awful to you. Why would you listen to them? You know what? At this point, there's so much to go over that we're not going to get to. So now it's time to just rant through a lot of this shit that happened. So Ethan, I'm waiting on him to pipe up at some point and stand up for Theresa and say something while they're saying all of these. Like, the minute one of these three people said something to me about Theresa, like Ivy, actually Ivy is included in this, even though she's on their side. If Ivy had been saying these things, because especially Ivy actually at this point with the bullshit that she just pulled. But if any of these people in this house had anything bad to say about Theresa to me, Ethan, the one person in this room who has not turned their back on me, has not done anything underhanded to me, because he knows that Rebecca set him and Theresa
Oh
up
yeah.
at that engagement party, the first one, at his first engagement party. He knows that Rebecca was the person who lied to Theresa, who sent Theresa, tried to send Theresa to Australia. He knows these things. He knows that Julian like literally turned his back on him when he found out that he was no longer a Crane. He knows these things about these people. So why would you listen to them for even a second? Even a second. I was so pissed that he was even entertaining any of this. He finally says, no, Theresa is the woman I love, and she will never do any of the things that you are saying. And I believe her. I'm going to go out and find the woman that I love. And as he's leaving, Theresa bippity boppity boos herself back in. She's just pops right back in with a smile on her face.
Yeah.
And everybody's like,
all the cash, all of her money, just like, oh, here I'm back. Like nothing happened. Like you didn't just awkwardly run out of the house without saying, be right back.
Exactly. Like, girl, just say, I'll be right back. That's all it takes. Yeah. That's all it takes. Just like when I text a man who I'm supposed, like we're supposed to be talking, and then you like don't text me back for 2 days, and then you text me back and you're like, or I text you again and you're like, oh, I was busy. You could have said that.
Yeah. So it's easy.
I'm busy. So easy. She could have said, I'll be right back. She didn't say that.
I'll be right back.
She just ran out in tears. Like she was crying. Yeah. So she bops right back in, smiling, beaming. The peanut gallery, this trio of horrible people.
Yeah.
They basically accuse her of being a gold digger, even though she has come right back in. They're like, we see how you abandoned Ethan for 20 minutes. What?
And it's hard. I mean, and then the fact that like she comes in and it's all like, oh, like nothing happened. I mean, I dated a guy who his mom and sister clearly didn't like me. And there was like a family party or whatever that I was not told that I was supposed to help set up. So I show up late. And then clearly I walk in and they were clearly talking about me because the tension in the room, the minute that I walked in was so palatable that like I almost just left, but you know, I had to be there for the party. And okay, Ethan's not a Crane. He got other stuff going on. She'd just be like, okay, I'm leaving. I'll see you at home or wherever. So if you don't have a home, I'll just come to my house and we'll talk it out.
Right.
But I'm not gonna be here while they're talking about me like this.
Yeah, talking mad shit about her. But Theresa makes the most beautiful play, which she always does. You know, I need to stop underestimating Theresa, because she always makes she doesn't always make the right choice, but she always makes like an interesting choice and makes a move that makes people like shut up, you know? And so they're like accusing her of like abandoning him the minute she found out that he was penniless. And she's like, is that what you thought was going on? And she laughs. And she says, no, I left because I wanted to get to the bank before it closed. The minute I found out that Ethan didn't have any money of his own, I knew exactly what I needed to do. So I went to the bank and I closed out my savings, and I'm giving you all of my savings, which I don't know how much money is in there, but it wasn't like a lot, because they said it was probably enough for maybe 2 months of rent. So, and what's rent in Harmony? $400? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. So it's probably like $800. It's probably not even $1,000, but she also is a teenager. This was like her summer job money. That money she earned at the Burger Hut that one day before she burned it down. So she hands Ethan this, and this is truly a beautiful gesture. I was like, wow, Theresa, you're so smart. She does the right thing. And it was genuine. It wasn't a play. It was very genuine. Yeah. She genuinely was like, I can't say anything to you. I got to go and come back with money for you. And she did that. And she came back. She hands him the envelope. He's like, wow, you knocked me out. And at first he says, I can't take your money. And she says, it's not my money anymore. It's our money. If that's the case, leave it in the bank.
Exactly. Just add his name onto it. He doesn't have his own bank account, so you're going to need to set one up.
How pathetic. How pathetic to be a grown man with no bank account.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
How pathetic. So
it's a child.
Just walking around with a wad of cash a teenage girl gave to you. As a 25-year-old lawyer. Exactly. You've made some poor choices in your life, in my opinion. But anyway, he loves this, and then they decide to leave. They're like, okay, we gotta go over to Sheridan and Luis's cottage and tell them the good news. I don't know. They go over there. And then at the cottage, Luis tells at the cottage, Ethan tells Sheridan and Luis about this grand gesture that Theresa made. And he says, and the only issue I have now is that I want to make a grand gesture as well to show you that I want to be with you for the rest of my life. Like, what can I do for you? And of course, Theresa says, well, you could marry me right away. Like, we could get married immediately. And he's like, okay. I mean, at this point, why the hell not?
Yeah, why not? Everything else is garbage. Just add to it.
Luis has an answer for me, though. Why not? Here's why not. He says to Ethan, and this was actually really fantastic. He says to Ethan, I'm against you all getting married right now. I don't think it's not that I'm against your relationship, but you don't have any money. You don't have a job. You don't have anywhere to live. You don't even have a car. What kind of life can you give my sister? And you know what? I'm hearing him. I'm hearing Luis. Give it 6 months.
Yeah.
Get yourself together. You haven't gotten yourself together. But of course, Theresa's like, well, lots of young couples struggle. Yeah, but lots of young couples have jobs already. He doesn't have a job.
No job, no car to get to a job interview. So he's got a lot more important things.
I mean, the bare minimum.
Right.
Ethan seems to hear Luis. He's like, you know what, Luis, I actually hear what you're saying, and you are absolutely right. So Theresa takes this to mean that he doesn't want to get married at all. She just has no like regulatory system in her. It's either all or nothing. There's no like middle ground with this girl. And she's like, so does this mean you don't want to marry me? He's like, no, I do want to marry you. And actually, I want to marry you as soon as possible. Like, I'm listening to your brother and I hear what he's saying, but I also see what this means to you. And I know that we can overcome this thing together. You are the most important person in my life. So let's get married. Great.
Yeah. Just like a lot of young couples that get married too soon, they focus on the wedding and the idea of marriage and not the actual marriage.
Right.
And it's not easy for them. A lot of them don't make it.
No, most of them don't. Because you know why? Because they don't have any money. And then they realize, oh, we have to actually have money. Like, they realize how important money actually is. Even if you don't have a lot of money, the main thing is a lot of times 2 people don't agree on how to spend the money. Right. So like, we know we have this little bit of money, and one person's like, we should be saving and being as frugal as possible. And the other person is like, we should be saving, but we should be treating ourselves from time to time. And then they clash over that. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why the divorce rate is as high as it is. Generally, people fight over money. Theresa and Ethan go back to the mansion. It's a lot of back and forth. They go back to the mansion and tell everybody their news. Gwen and Rebecca plan to expose Theresa on her wedding day. So that's the most important thing that's going on here, is that these two are like, we're going to expose that Theresa knew about this letter the whole time. I still don't know exactly how they're going to do this without exposing themselves.
Right.
I don't know how they're going to do that, but that's the plan.
Because how would they know? How would they know?
Yeah, I don't know, but that's the plan.
Yeah.
And then Rebecca tells Gwen, this was crazy. This was fucking crazy. Rebecca tells Gwen, okay, it's time for you to do your part of the plan. Do the thing that I told you to do. So Gwen walks over to Theresa and says, Theresa, I'd love to be a part of your wedding. Can I be your not your bridesmaid, your maid of honor?
Oh
the
my gosh.
fuck? The gumption.
You don't
the gall.
ask to be that, for one. And two, why would that be on any radar for Theresa to want to have?
What would lead you to believe
Beyonce?
What about our relationship would lead you to believe that I would like you to be my maid of honor? What about you trying to murder me?
Yeah, come at me with a bat,
strangling me, locking my mother in a closet, saying racist shit to me. What about those things makes you think, yeah, I want this girl in my wedding to stand up next to me on the happiest day of my life? Not only to the man that I stole from her.
License. Exactly.
This doesn't make any sense. So luckily, Theresa has some sense in this moment and says, oh no, Whitney's gonna be my maid of honor. Obviously. Of course Whitney is. And then this girl goes further, Gwen. Well, what about a bridesmaid? I've never heard of somebody being so thirsty to be in somebody's wedding. I don't know about you,
haven't,
but I do not like being in people's weddings. It is too much shit to do. Like, I like to go to the wedding. You know what I mean? But I'm not a big fan of being like, I got to buy this dress. Because a lot of times it's like, they choose dresses that are not flattering for me. I always tell them I cannot wear strapless dresses. It's always a strapless dress. So then my teddies are out in this church. And you know what I mean? It's just like I'm at a church with my boobs hanging out like I'm a stripper, because you thought it would be a good idea for me to put these G cups in a strapless bra, or not, a strapless bra in a strapless dress. So, and it's always so bad. But I don't like being in people's weddings. I would never ask to be in someone's wedding. First of all,
no, it's a big commitment. It's a big expense. And then, I mean, I'm cool with being in the bride's inner circle. Like, absolutely. I'll be at the bachelorette party for sure.
Absolutely.
Let's get a stripper. Let's do some fun. But, to have to like do all the, matching dresses, the shoes, the hair, all that. And it's not my choice.
Yes. And then like have to be there. Like the wedding's not until 3, but I got to be here at 9 a.m. No. I mean, I'll do it for the people I love. Obviously. I'll do it for the people I love, but I wouldn't ask to do it. Would not ask to do it.
It's a big commitment. I especially wouldn't ask my enemy and the ex-girlfriend of the man that I stole, the ex-fiance of the man that I stole, who hates my guts.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, where was I? So Ethan tells her, we're not going to have a big wedding. He's like, there's not going to be any bridesmaids. We're not going to have a big wedding. It's going to be a small affair because I don't have any money.
Going to the courthouse.
And that's when Ivy says, let me help you with this wedding. He refuses. He says, well, your money is Crane money and I don't want to use your dirty Crane money. And then Rebecca says, well, Ethan, why don't you let me pay for your wedding? My money's not Crane money. God. And I've got plenty of money. And I'm so glad that they didn't do this again, because they let her plan this stupid ass engagement party and look how that went. Right. Yeah. They let her pay for that and look how that went. So he was like, no, we're going to have a small wedding with just close friends and family. And then they're just so pushy. She's like, well, I hope we're close enough friends that we would be invited to the wedding. And he's like, sure, why not? And if I were Ethan, frankly, frankly, if I were Ethan, I probably would have already cussed these people out. Well, at least
Oh
Rebecca,
yeah.
maybe not Gwen, because he still thinks Gwen is like great and he feels guilty for how he's treated her, which I understand. But Rebecca is awful and a bitch and is horrendous in every
Yeah.
single possible way. So I probably would have told her, like, you can take your money and put it where the fucking sun doesn't shine, bitch. Like, I no, absolutely not. But he was very nice to her, nicer than I could have been. Nicer than I could
Yeah.
have been. So they're gonna have a small
Absolutely.
wedding.
I would have been throwing things in the house, and yeah, I wouldn't even be there. I would have already left by then
Yeah.
and gotten married to him.
So the last thing we need to talk about, there's some Sam and Grace stuff, but I'm gonna have to cut it out today because it wasn't that important, and it's gonna come up next week. So I'm gonna leave it out. But we do need to talk about Julian and Rebecca and Ivy, because this was actually really important. Basically, while all of these different things are going on, Ivy and Julian keep having this same conversation about Ivy saying, you're never going to get rid of me. I'm going to always be Mrs. Ivy Crane. I'm never going to give you a divorce. Right. And Rebecca takes it upon herself to call in a lawyer. So they have a whole conversation with this lawyer who comes in the back way so that Ivy doesn't see him. And they have a whole conversation wherein the lawyer asks, what do you want to leave Ivy with? And Julian says, well, we've been together for 20 years. So Julian is like, has seemed to soften about Ivy, because he was saying she's going to get nothing, right? Yeah. But he's like, she has been my wife for over 20 years. You know,
and she's the mother of his other children. How many kids do they have? Fancy and Fox?
Fancy, Fox, and Pretty. They have 3 other kids. Yeah, the worst names. The worst names. Like, literally, you named your girls. Actually, all your kids have stripper names. All of your kids have stripper names, except for Ethan. Fox is a male stripper. She likes. That's a male stripper name. It really is. Or Gigolo.
Oh yeah, Foxy Crane, Fancy
he
Crane.
Is sexy though.
Yeah,
he is foxy.
She's still legally Mrs. Crane, freaking licensed, and has 3 other children of his.
Right.
Not an easy fight.
And they've been married for many, many years, and he spent the entire time cheating on her. Like, she slept with Sam one time at the beginning of their marriage. He's been cheating on her with everybody for 20 plus years at this point. So, you know, she does deserve something from him and from the queen.
Absolutely.
But Rebecca says, no, Ivy shouldn't get anything. She should get nothing. And in fact, can we get all of the things that Julian has given to her over the years as gifts back? No, girl, the answer is no. Like, do these people know the law? No. And like, there is no universe where Ivy walks away with nothing.
Right. Yeah.
They can write it all they want to.
Goes out at least a millionaire, not a billionaire, maybe not 100 millionaire, but at least a millionaire.
They can write it all they want to, but there is not a universe where she walks away with nothing. At the very least, she would be getting child support for those kids. Because I think Pretty is still like in school. I think 2 of them are still in school. I think Fox is an adult, and I think the girls are young. I think.
Right.
I might have that backwards, but they're like Theresa's age and younger. So at the very least, she's going to get the money she needs to take care of her kids. Right.
Yeah. And again, where's Ethan, her lawyer son, Ivy League educated, advising her, being like, oh, hey, like, I have a friend who like owns a divorce law firm that can help us out. Do it for free. He's a buddy of mine.
Well, they are on the outs because he did just find out his whole life was a lie, and a lie that she had perpetrated against him. Like, they are on the outs. Maybe he's not in the most helping mood for her.
Very true. Very true.
I feel like I probably would not be in the most giving mood for my mother if I just found out that she had lied to me for all of my 33 years and my dad was not my dad. You know what I mean?
Very true.
Like, I'm not here to
Right.
help you today. I can't. I need a mental health day
I'll
from
talk
you.
to you in a week, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I need at least. I would need at least a week. Because
Right.
I feel like I would say so many. I feel like I would probably say a bunch of things that I would regret. Because she, at the end of the day,
Very
he
true.
does love his mom, just like I love my mom, and they're like really close. But when something like that happens, it's hard to kind of control those emotions. For me, it is anyway. And sometimes I have to just kind of shut down and like move away from certain people when they've done something that hurt me, because I love them, but I don't want to burn that bridge. Like, I don't want to hurt them, if that makes sense. So I'll just be by myself, so I don't say
And
anything
it's
mean to
true,
you.
like, Ethan doesn't really seem like he's the type that's really had to account for his emotions.
Yeah.
Like, he's just always given a pass, and what he says goes in his world. So apologies probably don't really exist much, because he can't really do anything wrong, because he just pays for all of his friends to hang out with him.
Well, yeah. He has no friends. He has Chad, whom he pays. Yeah. He not only does he not have any just general intelligence, he doesn't have any emotional intelligence at all.
Right.
Yeah, no, he sucks. Oh, Ethan sucks. I'm sorry. Even though I'm not even like raging against him right now. I'm kind of on his side, honestly. He actually did he do anything bad this week that I was like, this guy's so stupid and I hate him?
No,
I mean, he said some
didn't
dumb
do anything
stuff,
bad.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
he's just being a baby.
yeah, he's just kind of being himself. But so Rebecca convinces Julian that Ivy should get nothing. So that's where we are with this. He's on board with Ivy getting nothing. Then later, Ivy comes in, realizes that these two people have been like scheming or whatever. She tells Rebecca again, I'm never going to give him a divorce. You can fuck him all you want to, but he is legally my husband. So just you're never going to be Mrs. Crane, right?
Never.
And so she says to Julian, and as for you, you need to hear this too. You are never going to get rid of me. Number one, you need me. You need my family. You need my family's, like, your family might have a bunch of money, but my family has the political clout and power.
I'm a Winthrop.
I'm a motherfucking Winthrop, bitch. You are not, you need me. No, she's like, you need my family's political clout and power. Number one. Number two, this was my favorite. You can't afford to get rid of me, Julian. Oh, she said, you can't afford to get rid of me, Julian. I know where the bodies are buried. I know.
Checkmate.
She says, you think that the headlines about Ethan's paternity were bombshells? That pales in comparison to what I know that y'all have done. It pales in comparison to what I know about you and this family. So you need my silence. You can't afford to get rid of me. And Julian, for once in his life, is rendered absolutely speechless because he knows she's right.
Oh yeah,
he knows she's right.
She has him. She has him in her crosshairs.
Dead to rights.
He cannot move.
Dead to rights. She's right on the money. I'm so glad she got there because I have been thinking that too. It's like, you can't do shit to Ivy. Ivy knows too much, and like you definitely can't. You definitely can't get rid of her without her getting anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think you could probably negotiate with Ivy for her to get her fair share and for her silence, but you are not gonna toss her out on the streets with nothing. Right?
No way.
So Julian, and it's weird because again, both of these actors are like I think probably the best actors on the show. These two, Ben Masters, what is the lady who named Kim Ulrich, I think is her name.
Yeah, Ulrich, yeah.
They I think are probably the two best actors on the show. Them and Tabitha, Juliet Mills.
They're great.
They're so good. Julian does such a good job in this moment because I don't like him. I hate him. And I keep saying this. I really hate Julian, but Ben Masters manages to make me feel something for him. He holds up that engagement ring that he just took from Theresa, which I should be mad about, right? He's holding it up to Ivy and he says, I deserve a wife. I deserve a wife who loves me. I deserve a wife who will welcome me into her bed. I deserve love. Oh, I mean, just thinking about all the Julian.
A little bit of humanity into the monster.
Well, and I've said this, if I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Julian is a product of his upbringing. He was raised by a monster and he has been abused by this monster. I mean, since he was little, he's constantly being belittled and abused and by Alistair and talked down to and called an idiot and telling him he's worthless. And just hearing one grown man say that kind of stuff to another grown man is, bad enough. Right. But it's your father saying it to you and you're 50 something, right? Like he's been saying the same shit to you.
To that little boy that he was belittled for his whole life. It still gets, that little boy, the inner child that never got healed still pops out and wants loving.
So it like broke my heart. Yeah, he says he deserves love and he's trying to find it. You know what I mean? Like that, I don't know. I feel for Julian. I know that's like an unpopular position to be in, but I really feel for him really deeply. I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably need to go to therapy and figure that part out, but but I do feel for him deeply. He says, I deserve love. I deserve a wife, a real wife. And she looks at him and says, well, I'm your wife, Julian. So get used to it. Ooh, girl. I loved it. I loved it.
That was the perfect ending to the Rebecca roller coaster and all the shenanigans.
There's one more dip in this roller coaster, which is Julian's holding up this ring and Rebecca, because it's talking to Gwen and Gwen says to her, she says, well, it looks like you won't be able to become Mrs. Julian Crane after all, mother. And Rebecca says, watch me. And she walks over and she says, oh, Julian, it's kind of an unorthodox proposal, but I accept. Yes, I'll marry you. And she puts on the ring and he looks at her like, huh? What? And she goes, you were proposing, right? And he says, yes. Will you marry me, Becky? And she's like, of course. And they make out or whatever. So they're like engaged now. I think my favorite line of this episode was, well, I don't know, there were a lot of great ones, but what was when Julian says that about I need a wife and Rebecca comes over and says, I accept. Yes, I will marry you. Ivy just goes, where do you get your gall, Rebecca?
Yeah.
Like, and I was, yes, where? Like, who does that? Rebecca does. Yep. She's a mess.
The Wilden, the Rebecca roller coaster. You never know when it's going to end.
She's awful. I can't stand her. This week's episodes they're really making her as I mean, she's already been like super unlikable, but they're really making her as unlikable as possible. I really kind of hate her. But
the classic villain.
Do you have anything else to add? Because we're ready to wrap it up.
Oh no. I mean, I am glad that we did kind of remember that Julian arc with I deserve a wife, I love a wife, because I mean it kind of plays out more, with because doesn't he briefly get married to Theresa? Just like his constant search for love and validation that gets overshadowed all the time by what you said, by just like the evilness that like he was raised in. It is, and it does take a great actor to bring that out of a character, because he could easily just be just like such a jerk, Julian the jerk, but just Ben Masters he does such a great job with bringing humanity to him.
He really
That's
does.
why you keep wanting more.
He really does. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. Lauryn, remind the people where they can find you.
You can find me at Lauryn EP on Instagram and Love and Mardi Gras on Instagram. You can buy my book anywhere where all books are sold, even Waterstones in the UK for all our UK friends out there. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me. My book is called Love and Mardi Gras again, and I'm Lauryn Pena.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lauryn, for talking with me, Passions, today, putting up with my with my tangents. I really appreciate it.
No,
I appreciate your time.
This has been such a treat. What is it? It's my passion for life. You're the wind beneath my wings. I've been a long time listener, and it's just such a delight that I can be here to talk to you.
Well, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you listening and coming on the show. And I'm gonna finish your book for sure, because I really am like interested to see where it's going, like all right, we've got this girl, she's going to Mardi Gras, she's from LA. Okay, all right, let's see what happens when I don't know, it feels like it was like a little fish out of water story, but I'm not sure if that's where it's going. Like it's like
oh
new. Yeah,
it makes you want to travel. Everybody that I know that has read the book, they want to go to New Orleans after this.
Yeah, I actually do want to go to New Orleans. I have cousins there, so I'm probably going to do that this summer. But anyway, that's it, everybody. That's our show. Thank you all so much for listening, hanging in there with me with all the changes and everything that have been happening. Remember, you can always catch me on Instagram at Passions Pod, on TikTok at Passions Podcast, on Twitter at Podcast Passions, and on Facebook at Passions Podcast. And send me an email. I've gotten a couple of emails and I need to respond to them, but I read every single email I get. I love getting them. Send me messages. Whatever you need to say about Passions, I'm here to listen, and I will probably respond to you. So send me an email. With that, you are my passion for life.